As a man, I want to be able to look at you in your face and apologize and say, listen, I made a mistake. But guess what? The door swings both ways. If I didn't make a mistake and I never get this, the players should be able to say, you know what, Larry, you was right. I'm sorry. It hardly ever happens.
I've never seen it happen.
If you want to be a good ref or you want to be a better ref, you have to be willing to do those things. And let me tell you something, it's not easy. Because guess what? Nobody wants to ref, but everybody wants the referee to be perfect. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, we're out here to try to make the sport better. So for anyone, any organizer, any player, any spectator that feels like they're better or bigger than the sport, then we're going to have a conflict. We're not going to be able to agree.
Larry, how you doing?
I'm good, man. What's up?
How many Buddha tournaments have you refed in?
I'm not sure. I think I refed every single one. I don't think I refed every finals because Carlos used to ref some of the finals.
I know you ref a lot of tournaments. I will put you at the pedestal of like the referee community. People respect you, they follow you. They look up to you when it comes to reffing, or anything handball related, period.
Okay.
What's your thoughts on the Buddha or the next generation open doubles tournaments compared to any other tournaments that happens in the community?
It's just electric. Like no other tournament has this vibe, especially a doubles tournament. I think I would compare this tournament to in one-wall handball, I would compare it to the King of the Courts. Like there's just so much love and support for this tournament. This isn't even the Buddha. This is a completely different tournament. This is next generation, right?
Right.
Yeah, this is not even the Buddha. It still has that electric feeling of the Buddha. So I would compare it to the King of the Courts. It's my favorite, one of my favorite doubles tournaments of the year.
Now let's talk about the Buddha specifically, right? Is there any favorite year that you attended a Buddha that was your favorite year?
Not particularly. I'm a fan of handball, so almost every variation, every team that you see out here, I've seen it at one time or another. A game that would probably stand out for me as one of my favorite games would have to involve Justin Ritchie and Paulie against Little Eddie and
Timbo. Also the very first Buddha ever.
Those are some of the games that stand out the most to me. I was still playing back then, which is like, I really like that combination of guys. It was a little bit of the new school taking out the old school.
So Justin and Paulie took out Timbo back-to-back in the first two Buddhas. Did you see anything like that made Justin and Paulie like a better team in those first 2 years?
It's handball. I mean, once you get to a certain level, it's all about who's going to play better that day. That's my philosophy. I mean, once you become at a certain level, in one-wall handball, they call it A player, B player. Once we all A players, any one day, one player can come out and just be on fire. I feel like anybody can win, especially in doubles. In those tournaments, it just so happened to be their day. In both the tournaments, they outplayed everybody that was there. But if you look at the entire year, it's like a toss-up. Whoever's playing good now, every once in a while, you have somebody that stands out in the entire community that might dominate. That person is obviously the best player of the community, and everybody knows it as years go by. Rookie did it for a long time. Buddy did it for a long time. We had Justin Ritchie, who I just mentioned. He did it for a while. Timbo did it for a while. Gio did it for a while. These players stand out, from the rest of the crowd. And those tournaments, in doubles, it's really hard to verify or specify who is the best player. I just feel like Justin and Paulie, they were the best player of those two particular tournaments.
You obviously participated in a lot of handball tournaments. Roughly, let's say, what, 500, 1,000, or even more, 2,000 tournaments?
I have no number, but I guess, that's fair to say.
It'll be a lot, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so to you, what makes a tournament a really, really good tournament? What factors make it a good tournament?
Well, once you already have the people coming out, there's a lot of stuff that has to happen behind the scenes that makes the tournament run well. You have to have organization, you have to have the referees in check, you have to have the rules. There's a lot of things that happen on the back end that people don't know about, like when you're watching as a fan on the court, that you need to keep the games under control. For the tournament to run well, you need to know who's playing against who. You gotta keep those things in order. If you don't, it's very easy for everything to go out of control.
You want to touch on that a little bit? What would make a tournament go out of control?
That's too much of a broad question. It's a variety. There's an endless list of things that can make everything go out of control. If you just have everybody show up and you don't know who's playing who, and you got to do the draw on the site. If you have people that don't know what time they got to be here, there's all types of things like that. If you don't know what types of rules you're playing by, these things have to be established beforehand. Nowadays, it's a little bit easier to verify that because of the internet. So you can post those things on the back end. The things that make a tournament run well is having all those things in order before the day of the tournament.
You did mention audience plays a factor in a good tournament. Is that true? Like, do you think if you have a bigger audience in the tournament, like it plays a big factor to be a successful tournament?
That's a pretty weird question. It's not necessary, you know.
Okay.
You can have 4 great players and you have a phenomenal game, but I think that you're asking about the tournament, for the tournament to be successful.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you need to have an audience for it to be successful. For the sport to do well, I think you need an audience. It's going to be about the spectators for the sport to grow, but for a tournament to do well, I don't think the audience really plays a part.
It's the organization. If you have a well-established organization that's organizing everything, is what creates a successful handball tournament.
Listen, you're a player yourself. Are you going to play in a tournament that's thrown by an organization that's not organized?
I would not like to, but you know, as a player, when I do show up to some tournaments and I find out, oh my God, like they didn't figure this out or they didn't figure this out, and now we're, like you said, like a lot of things could go wrong, and it does go wrong in a lot of tournaments.
When I would play, and I was just like you guys, I really wanted to show everybody that I could play. I wanted to win. You know, eventually I would start winning, but guess what? If I didn't like the way that the tournament was being run, or I thought there was something wrong, I wouldn't play in that person's tournaments anymore. It was just as simple as that for me. And it's simple, but it's not easy. Because I wanted to play, I wanted to compete. But if I saw that somebody was doing something that wasn't fair, I wouldn't compete in that tournament. And it happened with about, you know, a good 2 or 3 organizers that, you know, if it wasn't, you know, fairness with the bracket, or if I saw something that was inconsistent with what somebody said, I wouldn't play. And it wasn't easy. I don't want to make it seem like it was easy, because I wanted to play. And if you want to play, you want to compete, that sacrifice comes up. You have to be like, you know, oh, who's throwing that tournament? I can't play in that person's tournament because they did XYZ last time. And I mean, I had to stay true to myself with that. And like I said, it just wasn't easy.
How important is players to comply with the organizers? Like, I think it is very important, because if you have players that are maybe like not true to the sport, as in like they're trying to get away with things like cheating, for example, and stuff like that, do you think it's a duty of players to comply with the rules and organizations to have a successful tournament?
The answer is no, but like you said, it is a broad question. I'm going to elaborate on that answer. If you have ever read the rule book, a lot of people haven't actually opened up the rule book. When you open up the rule book, one of the first things it says, there's integrity on the part of the player. It's like it's a gentleman's game, and somewhere along the line, it becomes like a lost aspect of the game when it comes down to big blue one-wall handball, because I have seen it play a bigger part, the integrity aspect of the game, and small ball. I have a tournament. I'm going to throw the tournament. I give you the rules and the regulations. It's you as a player, the competitor. If you're going to play in this event, you have to comply with those rules and regulations of the tournament. That's the way it should go. A lot of times players feel like they can dictate the way that the game or the tournament is being ran. That's not how it goes. And I think a lot of times that's part of the reason why so many players are so upset, because they think that they can come into the game or to come into the tournament and dictate the way the game is being played. We have a rule book, we abide by the rule book, and we play the game by those rules. Anything outside of that would have to do with the organizer and how they're organizing the event. You know, the player, it's not a negotiation. You're coming to play in a one-wall handball tournament. It's your responsibility to understand the rules of one-wall handball. It's my responsibility as a referee, sometimes the organizer, to enforce the rules of one-wall handball. You know, that's just the way it is. You know, so a lot of times guys get upset if we hold them accountable for the rules that they're supposed to know. You know, so I mean, that's the reason why I said no to the original question.
It's no, because it is a hugely the organizer's part to make enforce the rules and make sure the guys comply with the rules, or you know, adios, like, you know, so right.
Yeah, I mean, we come to the tournament with an understanding, right? You as a competitor are coming to play one-wall handball, right? I, as the organizer or the referee or whatever my title is you want to call it, I'm coming to run a tournament of one-wall handball, right? You have the responsibility as a competitor, even the consumer, because you're paying to play, to know what you're getting yourself into. It's not like you pay to get in and then you get to dictate how the game is going to be played. You're coming to play in the event, and we both know what the event is. The rules are already established, and you abide by the rules that are given in the tournament, and we go from there. You know, a lot of times I feel like people think that they could change that for some reason. I don't really understand that.
Okay, so now if we look at it a different perspective, now we're trying to think of a way to grow the sport. We need great players like Timbos and the Geos and the DuBois to participate in these events.
I agree.
Yeah. So if we're looking from that point of view, let's just bring up the what happened one year at King of the Court where Timbo decided, you know what, after something happened, he said, you know, I may or not play in this event in the future, which kind of hurts the sport because he's such a great player. We want him to play in every event. Fortunately, he came back and he participated in all that, but it would have been a big loss if he never did come to that event. That's why I rise the question, like, like we need the corporation of the players. I think it's very crucial in order to grow the sport.
I just want to point out there was no question there.
For me, I think the Players Corporation do play a big factor with the corporation, with the organizations in order to grow the sport. Would you agree with that statement?
No, I disagree.
You disagree? You think it's mostly the organizer's job to grow the sport?
If we're talking about the sport,
yeah,
let's just focus on the sport.
Okay.
There's no one player that is bigger than the sport. We're all out here because we love the sport. Can we agree on that?
Yes,
we all agree on handball, right?
Yes.
So if I'm the organization, if I'm the organizer, I'm sacrificing my money, my time, my effort to come out here and host an event for the love of the sport. At the bare minimum, I'm doing those things for the love of the sport. You as the not only the spectator, the competitor, you're here for the same reason, just from a different angle, because of the love of the sport. There's not one person, without mentioning any names, who's bigger than the sport. So how could you have that opinion with that, agreeing that we're all out here for the love of the sport? There's not one player, I don't care how good you are, there's not one player out here that's better or bigger than the sport. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, we're out here to try to make the sport better. So for anyone, any organizer, any player, any spectator that feels like they're better or bigger than the sport, then we're going to have a conflict. We're not going to be able to agree. You know, you have to be able to understand and humble yourself, no matter how great you may be, that there's nobody that's better than handball. Nobody that's bigger than handball. We all have one thing in common, to say the least, that we love handball. So when you have players that come out here and they don't carry themselves in a way that pushes the sport in a positive way, positive direction, I don't want to be a part of that. That's what we disagree. That's what we disagree. You know what I'm saying? It's important for everybody to realize that. And every once in a while, from one year to the next, we have to reel certain people back in and make them realize, because their egos get so big because of the great things that they're doing, they think they're bigger than the sport. And you're not bigger than the sport. A lot of times people like to call me, yo, that's the best ref. That's the best, he's the best this, he's the best that. I never walk around talking about I'm the best anything. I don't want to ever even trick myself into believing that I'm bigger or better than the sport in any way. I'm here just to try to keep the integrity of the game that I love intact with every game that I ref. And guess what? Even with me trying to do that, I realize that I'm not perfect and I'm not the best. I'm always trying to learn, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's a really good point that you bring up with that statement. Us having a difference of opinion brings to light, you know, something that I don't think a lot of people talk about enough. You know what I'm saying? None of us is bigger or better than the sport. You know, we're all trying. I think we all want to see the sport go to levels that we've never seen it before. You know, and sometimes it takes a little bit more sacrifice than it might take for other people.
What are some reasons why handball either did grow or didn't grow throughout the years? Or what's holding it back, if there is something holding it back?
There's a few things that I think is holding it back. I've been around for a while, and handball was around a lot longer before me, generations and years before I came along. I can only really talk for what I see in my lifetime, in my generation. One of the things that I see holding it back is a variety of different things. A lot of times the guys that play, they don't know how to control their emotions. They don't know how to act professionally. They don't know how to handle when things don't go their way. Outside of the game, just, you know, things are not even on the court. There's a lot of things that just aren't positive for the sport, to say the least. I don't want to start naming things and throwing things out there, because no matter what, I don't want to play any part in hindering the growth of the sport, no matter what. When you're recording the games, we shouldn't have any bags on the wall. Aesthetically, it doesn't look good. If we're trying to be professional and we want to promote the game to the next level, I don't think there should be any bags or anybody that's not a sponsor on the wall. I think that the court should be clear at all times. When I say professionalism, it's like such a big umbrella, you know, not only for the players on the court, the referees, even the spectators. You know, a lot of times we're trying to put the court, especially in this day and age, we have so many different platforms and opportunities to put the sport, to push it forward. People don't realize how much it affects the sport when they carry themselves a certain type of way when they're upset. You got guys smoking, drinking, doing certain things that you can leave that elsewhere. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's just a few things that I think might be holding the game back. Every time we get an opportunity to showcase the game to somebody who may be able to do something for the sport, we keep on getting left in a position where they're like, don't call me, I'll call you. And nobody wants to hear that. They're seeing something that they don't want to put their name or their brand on in that moment. And I mean, it really sucks because, I've had conversations, I've been in the room with a couple of different people who are in a position, big sponsors, to do something for the sport. And for some reason or another, one way we keep on shooting ourselves in the foot.
Okay, do you have any things, like besides the things that you already named, is there some things that could elevate the sport? Or is it just maybe like sponsors, like external factors?
One of the main things that this is just like wishful thinking, because it's like you really got to get everybody on the same page. That will help push the sport forward is if, number one, everybody opened up the rule book, and if you just read those first couple of pages when it refers to integrity and character, that right there, it sounds so simple and small, but on such a big level, it will help the sport, because then you would have a lot less of the toxicness, the toxicity that's in the sport. You would have a lot less of it, because you would have a lot less of guys trying to cheat. You would have a lot more guys, just being honest and being truthful for the sake of the sport. Calling yourself out, ref yourself when you're playing the game. You know what? That was 2 bounces. Back. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, I made a bad call. If you have more of that, then that will help the sport. And when you open the book, it's like right, the first couple of pages is right there. And that's just one thing. Simon a lot. To me, it's a small thing. Some people do it naturally, but some people obviously they don't do it naturally.
Honestly, I wasn't expecting that answer. That's actually a really great answer. Just learning the rules of the sport and understanding it and respecting it would not even take your game to the next level. It'll take the whole sport to the next level.
It would be monumental for the sport.
Okay.
Like it would really, really help the sport. And the reason why I say it's something so simple is because it's something that is a reflection of your character. This has to do with when you was a baby, when you was growing up, when they taught you right and wrong, and how you accepted that growing up. A lot of people don't, from one person to the next, it's not consistent. Some people think that it's okay to do something that's completely wrong. I think something that will really help out, and this is something that helps out outside of the sport, just helping people realize something so simple as integrity. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people have no idea what that word means. They will lie and cheat and do whatever they have to do to win a game. When you realize that there's so much more online for you on the line, when you blatantly lie, it just makes you look a certain type of way that if you had a chance to look at that, you would be like, yo, that's disgusting. I wouldn't even want to be associated with somebody that would do that. Because with me, I'm like, yo, you would lie over a hamburger. We're playing ham. What would you do if the cops asked you questions about where I was yesterday? You know what I'm saying? Like, you would say anything if the stakes were high.
Real quick, so yesterday I noticed something, right? Somebody was reffing a game. Maybe he had to do something or something happened, all right? Just to remind you, it was a Nietzsche game. Nietzsche versus Christian and whoever it was.
Yeah.
You came in the middle of it and you started reffing the game. And you asked the Nietzsche if hey, were you guys switching serves or not?
Yeah.
You were trying to confirm something, even though you know the rules. You were trying to confirm something with Nietzsche just so you don't disrupt the flow of the game.
Yeah.
And I noticed that, and I was like, oh my god, like if I don't know what else ref would have done that, because your essential thing is like, I'm not trying to control the game, I'm not trying to dominate the game, I'm not trying to do nothing to a game but officiate the game and help maximize the players play the game. So my question is to you now is that what advice would you give to handball refs to help them be better refs, besides maybe just reading the rule book?
This question opens like a can of worms as to what I bring to the table. At the end of the day, I've been a player before. I've been a player, and one of the things that really frustrated me is if I was playing in a tournament and the referee was subpar. If they weren't, paying attention, or if they didn't know the rules or whatever, that's really frustrating. So whenever I play a game, I try to be the ref that I would like to have had ref in my game. I'm gonna only speak on that game because you brought it up. The game with Nietzsche, I got involved with that game because there were a lot of antics that were going on in that game that we don't want to showcase to the rest of the world. So I came and took over that game to try to minimize and get the game under control. I wanted to get the game under control and minimize the antics that we don't need. We got guys coming from all over the world to play in this tournament. You know, you got guys from London, you got guys from California, guys from Florida, you know, and they got their family watching them, and we don't want to showcase any negativity to the rest of the world what we have to bring to the sport. So that's the reason why I got involved with that game. You already said it. When I got involved with that game, when I ref any game, I'm trying to keep the integrity intact. That's my main concern, is to keep the integrity of the game intact. Sometimes certain players, they can intimidate the referees, linesmen, and that dictates the outcome of the game. So I'm there as the head ref to avoid allowing anything like that to happen. To keep control of the game, keep the game in, keep the integrity of the game intact. You guys, whoever's in the court, you play your game. I want you to play the game. I don't want you to be thinking about me at all. You know, you ask me for a call, I'll try to, you know, answer the question to the best of my ability, within reason. But don't even think about me. I don't want anybody thinking about me when I'm there to officiate the game. To answer your question, what do I think would make somebody a good ref aside from knowing the rules? Make sure you know the rules, number one. Even though you mentioned that, you need to know the rules. And what makes me special is knowing the rules and the literature and how it corresponds to my over 25, 30 years experience in playing the league. So I have actually lived the scenarios, and I understand what the rule book is referring to in certain instances of how the game is supposed to be played. Now, even with that being said, I can still be wrong. I make mistakes every single day. You know what I'm saying? So even with me officiating, you have to be willing to admit that you don't know it all. You can be wrong. A lot of people, when they go to ref a game, they want to make it seem like they know everything on earth. They saw everything and they know everything. You can't do that, because you could be wrong, and then now when you're wrong, you can't even say you was wrong, because you made the wrong decision and stuck by it. So if you're gonna be a ref, make sure you know the rules. Make sure you can admit if you made a mistake. You know, at the same time, you have to try to be firm and fair. You know, if you make a call, there's been plenty of times I made a bad call, and guess what? You guys got to take it because I made a bad call. That's it. If I go back on the call that I make, now it's going to help me lose control of the game, because you can bet your ass the other team is going to run with that. If I make a bad call in somebody's favor, the other team is going to, you know, and it will help me lose control of the game. The thing that I can bring to the table is I'm trying to be fair. The number one thing is I'm trying to be fair. With that being said, I can make mistakes. I say it all the time. If I know that I made a mistake, what I'll do is I'll come back to the player and I apologize. Listen, man, I made a mistake. I apologize. It wasn't on purpose. Let's try to get past it. Sometimes it happens in the game. Sometimes it'll happen after I see it online. If I see it online, I very rarely write any posts, but I will publicly apologize for whatever mistake I made. And guess what? Much more than that, I can't give you anything much more than that. As a man, I want to be able to look at you in your face and apologize and say, listen, I made a mistake. But guess what? The door swings both ways. If I didn't make a mistake and I never get this, you know, the players should be able to say, you know what, Larry, you was right. I'm sorry. It hardly ever happens.
I've never seen it happen.
And I make it a point that if I know that I made a mistake, I apologize. It doesn't matter. It could be one day later, a year later, I come up to you. I'm petty like that. I'll let you know, listen, I apologize. I'm sorry. It was my mistake. There's been scenarios where I've cost people games on a call that I've made the bad call. I go up to them and I let them know, listen, I missed that call. I'm sorry. That's all I could do. Anything more than that you expect from me, let me know before the game and I'll recuse myself. I'll let you know I can't do it. I can't be perfect. I'm sorry. I'm a human being. I don't have that ability. And we just go forth from there. So if you want to be a good ref, or you want to be a better ref, you have to be willing to do those things. And let me tell you something. It's not easy. Because guess what? Nobody wants to ref, but everybody wants the referee to be perfect. Every player wants the ref to know everything, and he has to be perfect. But nobody wants to ref. You're talking about nobody even wants to call a line. You know what I'm saying? So if you're interested in doing something like this, just know that before you start, you know, up there with the score sheet.
Thank you.
You got it.